Welcome back. Eman Diamond K in here. RadioFire.com, the DiamondKShow.com. So much on the table for tonight. Jam-packed show. A lot to get into. We are on the eve of the presidential debate. It's going to take place tomorrow. We're going to be streaming that here on RadioFire.com. And we're going to be doing commentary immediately following the debate. So I will be joined by my father. Always good to be able to bring him on the show and talk about various things, of course. But we're going to be talking about Trump's taxes. Trump paying only $750 in 2016, 2017. We're going to be talking about that debacle. We're going to be talking about a police a settlement, $20 million settlement in PG County in Maryland. We're going to be talking about that. I'm also going to be joined later on in the program by an author and producer of a play that is about a very serious subject. So we're going to be talking to her live later on. But so much to get into. And we have the time to do it today. Of course, Radio on Fire talks to America through digital news broadcast and social media content. We are rising multimedia platform generating over 350,000 listeners and viewers per month through our audio and video streams. From politics, breaking news, celebrity info, sports talk, pop culture, and so much more, Radio on Fire keeps our audience covered. So as I said, Donald Trump, he for so long has tried to portray himself as some sort of great businessman, right? Some sort of tycoon. When in actuality, Donald Trump is the worst businessman in the country, okay? In the country. His claims of being a billionaire, definitely from documents, from tax returns, from the amount of debt that he has, is not true. This whole facade is a lie that Trump is somehow a great business person. It's a lie. And it is a lie that he has continued to go on and on about for the longest time. As you can see, Trump paid $750. $750. Okay. How crazy is that? Right? How much did you pay in your federal tax? All right. I'm sure that it was much more than $750. Now, of course, he is claiming that is fake news. This stuff comes from his tax returns. So if he's calling his tax returns fake, then he's a bigger fraud than most people already know that he is. So these headlines coming out according to a report yesterday from the New York Times, $750. Now, let's understand this. This was the year that he ran for president, when he was trying to act like he's the one that makes the big deals. Remember that? Remember when Trump was trying to front like he was the man, right? His first year in the White House, also $750 in federal income tax. Now, the income tax law needs to be amended. Amazon paid zero in federal taxes as well. But regardless, Amazon doesn't have the level of debt that Trump does. You know why Trump has been hiding his tax returns, I think that it is clear. It is clear to see. Only president in modern times to not make them public. And why? Because he paid no federal income tax in 10 of the last 15 years. And the times that he did pay, 2 of those years, he paid $750. So all of these MAGA supporters talking about Donald Trump is the man. Donald Trump is a fraud. Donald Trump is a fraud. Kind of similar to Tekashi 6ix9ine. He's like the Tekashi 6ix9ine of politics. Donald Trump I'm talking about. So the details of the tax filings really complicate Trump's description of himself as a shrewd, patriotic businessman. What it does reveal is a seriously documented loser. So it shouldn't have been Celebrity Apprentice. He should have called his show The Biggest Loser. Biggest Loser. All right. So a president with the type of debt that he has, and who does he owe this money to? So much money that he owes is other countries, right? This is a national security nightmare. This is an issue. Who does this man owe money to? Now, when you see how he acts, it's very clear why he's been acting the way he has. Why he's so beholden to Vladimir Putin. You know why? Because he owes money. The financial disclosure indicates that he earned at least $434.9 million in 2018. But the tax filings reported $47.4 million in loss. Now, the disclosure, which the New York Times said comes from tax return data obtained over the course of 20 years, comes at a very pivotal moment. The presidential debate, as I said, is tomorrow, the first one with Joe Biden. This is ammunition that definitely could be used. I don't know if Joe Biden's really going to do it, though. He's kind of going to, he's a nice guy. And Trump is a fraud. Joe Biden is someone who has been preparing for the debates. Trump has not been preparing for the debates. He feels like he already knows everything that he needs to know. He's one of those type of people. I would hate to work for the Trump campaign. You're trying to give him information. He knows everything. He knows more than the debate prep people. He knows more than the generals. He knows more than the scientists. He knows more than the doctors, right? When Ivanka was complaining about getting her menstrual cycle, I'm sure Trump was probably saying he knows more about periods, than her mother. Talk to him. He knows everything, right? He clearly doesn't know how to run a business that is profitable after squandering the money that he got from his dad, squandering more money that he borrowed from other people. This guy sold the American people a bill of goods somehow that he is a good business person. He talked at a news conference yesterday, tried to dismiss it as fake news. He said that he has paid taxes. Right? Okay. You paid taxes, right? $750 in 2016 and 2017. Right? You've been defrauding the government. Of course, he gave no specifics. Just said he pays taxes. Oh, yeah, it's real complicated. It's real complicated because you owe so much money. He also said that the information about his taxes will all be revealed, but offered no timeline, of course, because he doesn't want you to know. Did he? You ever heard about the people that work at a job and take money out the drawer and then try to put the money back in the end of the night before the drawer gets counted? That's kind of like what Trump's trying to do. It's going to be revealed, right? And he's floating this around because he's trying to get the money from somewhere else to try to put the money. It is deceit at the highest level. Deceit at the highest level. No timeline for disclosure. And he made similar promises during the 2016 campaign and never followed through. We never saw his taxes. Now, the stuff is going to come out. He's not going to be the one to put it out, but it is going to come out because people, organizations, outfits are looking for this information, and it is going to come out. The fact that the president has gone to court to try to prevent those from seeking access to his returns, including the House, which is suing for access for his tax returns as part of congressional oversight, which they can do, right? It's so amazing to me how he made a big deal. You remember the big deal that he made about President Obama and his birth certificate or his report card, something else that Trump hides, right? But you don't want to show nothing for yourself, right? Got a whole lot to hide. Now, I'm sure MAGA supporters, like to jump on in the comment section and talk about Trump this, Trump that. Trump, as far as being a business person, he is a bum. As a politician, he is a bum, right? Ask his 3 wives. A bum as a husband. He is a bum. But yet, people still, the MAGA crowd, still try to defend him. And why? Most of the MAGA crowd that tries to defend Trump, his policies are hurting you. You are in an abusive relationship, right? It's like, blink your eyes, MAGA people, blink your eyes. You need help. It's time to get out of this cult. You need to let your voices be heard on November 3rd or sooner. This guy has got to go. Look at what he's done to the country. The country is not in better shape now than it was 4 years ago. That's clear. That is clear. And his leadership has driven this ship into the ground. Into the ground. During his first 2 years as president, Trump received $73 million from foreign operations, which, in addition to his Gulf properties in Scotland and Ireland, included $3 million from the Philippines, $2.3 million from India, and $1 million from Turkey. The president in 2017 paid $145,000 in taxes in India and $156,824 in the Philippines, compared to just $750 in United States income tax. Now, MAGA people, come on, you've got to see that something is wrong with this. The President Trump, has found multiple ways to reduce his tax bills. He's taken tax deductions on personal expenses such as housing, airplanes, $70,000 in hair care. Now, losses in the property business solely owned and managed by Trump appear to have offset income from his stake in the television show we talked about, The Apprentice, and other entities with multiple owners. So his obligations and his tendency to reduce this bill, he's relied heavily on this. The New York Times said that $9.7 million worth of business investment credits that were submitted by Trump after he requested an extension to file his taxes, allowed him to reduce his income and pay just $750 in 2016 and 2017. But this is the guy to try to front like he's some profitable business person. And we can go on talking about the amount of liability that he has. How much money does he owe? Right? He owes people. And if that was a good year, what about the amount of times where he paid zero in U.S. taxes? Now, he may front and try to say, oh, he paid in this country, that country. But in U.S. taxes, the place that he's supposed to love so much, why are you, me, us, paying more than him? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense at all. And he is trying to cover a lot of this stuff up. We're going to talk about that over the weekend. He named his nominee for the Supreme Court. And, she was on the short list. She's been on the short list, and we're going to talk about that. What does that mean, her being on the short list? Amy Coney Barrett being on the short list. What does her nomination mean? It's a serious thing. It's a serious deal. And we're going to talk about that and much more. You tune into the Diamond K Show here on Radio on Fire. Let's take a quick break. We're going to come back with more of the program after this. And we are back, the Diamond K Show here on Radio on Fire. You can advertise with Radio on Fire. Connect your message with our engaged audience of over 350,000 listeners and viewers per month. You can do that. RadioonFire.com/advertise. You can get all of the info there. Also support the program on Cash App. That is $DJ Diamond K. And make sure you follow the show on Spotify. Podcast is there, or your favorite podcast networks. And new programs drop daily on Radio on Fire and the Diamond K Show weekdays, 7 p.m. And of course, your donations help us continue to do what we do here on the program, and that's to bring you independent news and progressive opinion on politics, social issues, entertainment, and so much more. So the hypocritical nature of all of this stuff that is going on with regards to the Supreme Court. It's time to really start seriously considering and thinking about what was happened. We find ourselves with this Supreme Court justice, Amy Coney Barrett, has been pushed forward by President Trump, and they're trying to paint her as some legal scholar. I mean, I suppose she's qualified, right? I suppose she's qualified. There's a lot of people qualified, right? Like, that's like barely meeting the bar, right? That's a bar, right? She's barely meeting the qualifications. But what is more significant about her nomination is, quite frankly, the Affordable Care Act, your health insurance in the middle of a pandemic is in jeopardy. Roe versus Wade, something that you hear a lot of times in political circles and news stories, what that means is a woman's right to choose, the ability to get an abortion, is in jeopardy with this nominee, Judge Amy Coney Barrett. She was officially announced as Trump's next Supreme Court nominee over the weekend. And as I said earlier, she's been on the short list, and that's no coincidence. There's no surprise. There's a reason why she's there. Conservatives expect to cast a vote for her, and they want her to reverse Roe versus Wade, meaning they want her to make it illegal for a woman to have the right to choose whether or not she has a baby. They want to stop women from being able to get an abortion if that's what they want to do, right? So it's so ironic that the people who want to prevent and control a woman's body are also the same people that don't want to help women who can't afford to have kids. Isn't that crazy, right? They want to stop. Let's talk about women who don't want to have kids, right? So they get pregnant. They don't want to have kids. They want to terminate, which is the woman's choice, right? But conservatives don't want you to do that many times. Most. They want to control not only their bodies or the bodies of their wives or ladies. They want to control your body and the wife of your, the body of your wife also. They want to control everything. Isn't it ironic that conservatives, Congress people in general, they're so quick, and this is the Republicans, they're very quick to try to push this nomination of Judge Amy Coney Barrett down people's throat. But coronavirus relief, that's going in slow motion, right? But this comes up and they just, we got to push through. Immediately got to push this through, right? Where is the sense of urgency when it comes to coronavirus relief? Oh, okay, do that. Oh, we got to talk about this. This shows you the hypocrisy of the elected officials. So I can go on and on about this. But if you're just tuning in, you listen to the Diamond K Show, of course, radioonfire.com, the diamondkshow.com. And before we get into the next part of the program, Radio on Fire is a listener-supported internet talk radio podcast network streaming from our production facilities in Baltimore and Atlanta. And we are able to bring you the programs that we do because of our listeners and amazing sponsors. Sponsors like D Lifestyle Secrets. Are you a baby boomer? Translation, were you born between 1946 and 1964? Well, more than 71 million Americans are baby boomers. And as you continue to get older, baby boomers want to stay mobile and experience as few aches and pains as possible. DLifestyleSecrets.com helps you do just that. D Lifestyle Secrets provides a blueprint to reduce and or eliminate joint pain by teaching members how to communicate naturally with their bodies. Created by 70-year-old Dwight Williams, D Lifestyle Secrets gives baby boomers step-by-step videos and natural recipes. And most importantly, it gives them the motivation to re-energize themselves naturally. Visit DLifestyleSecrets.com to join this active community of baby boomers. So, as I said, we're going to have a special guest on the program, and I see her backstage. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with a promo of her play, and then I'm going to talk to her right after this. Stay tuned to Diamond K Show, radioonfire.com. And we're back on the show, and let's see if I have her. Good evening. How you doing?
I'm doing just fine. How are you?
I am good. I am good. So we are going to take a look at your trailer and then come back and let's talk about it. Okay.
Awesome.
All right. So everybody stay tuned. We're going to take a look at the trailer right now.
Friends about to start this tour with neighbors. You have a job and your own apartment. You don't need me no more.
Are you sure you want to go live in the country after being so many years in D.C.?
Very young and vibrant. No medication at her age of 58. Now, let's get this new life underway. A new day is born. Rev up the U-Haul. Let's go. Death appears and turns a well-planned life of dreams and hopes into a whirlwind of confusion and despair.
You know, she and Dad had planned to take trips and just do stuff together, and then 2 months later, he was dead.
I know what you mean. What happened to her in just 8 months after the move to her darling Darlington? South Carolina.
And now look at your clothes, Mama. What's going on?
Stay alert.
Got food and stuff all over the floor, Mama. What is happening?
Sometimes your loved one may do things that are senseless, and they think it makes perfect sense.
Where are the matches? I got to light my stove. Where are my matches?
When she come back, we'll all get in the car and head for Maryland. That's all they have to think of to do. She's not going to like it, but
Alzheimer's possibly be the diagnosis.
Alzheimer's has no boundaries.
I have a few aches and pains. Not in pain, but other than that, I'm right healthy. You tricked me into coming along.
They will fight you for their independence.
Can you please call the police? Please! I want to go home! I want to go home! Police! No! Nurturing her, sheltering her, making sure she gets everything she needs.
and this is what I get. I'm done.
I am done with her! Mom. Oh.
I got it.
Please welcome to the show author Rosalyn F. Morgan. How you doing?
I'm doing just great. How are you today?
I am good. I'm good. That was a very powerful trailer, and absolutely, and something that I think that touches most families in one way or another. How did you come about tackling this issue?
Well, it really much started early in the late 1990s, around 1999. We realized my mother, there was something wrong with her. And my brother and I just quite could not understand what was going on. She lived in South Carolina, Darlington, South Carolina, and I was here in Maryland. And constantly talking to her and visiting her, constantly repeating herself, just doing strange things. She was a very organized woman. Pretty much got it together. You can call on her. She's right on it. We were finding stuff not being paid. Bills weren't being paid. She was normally a very well put together. Clothes were a hot mess. House was a mess. So we just knew something was going on. We just not realized what it was. Yeah. Didn't find out what was wrong with her until I actually moved her to Maryland in 2000.
And so you became the caregiver.
I was the primary caregiver. My brother was my support system as well as my children. Caregiving is rough, and she took us through a lot. Definitely. Her behavior changed. She was the sweetest person you could have ever imagined. God-fearing, church-going, happy-go-lucky. Alzheimer's turned her into a drama queen. When I say that, I never cursing, never heard her curse in my life.
Until then.
Fighting. I didn't know she knew how to throw a punch. So like, wow. So I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but you know, she was my mom, and we vowed we were going to take care of her. That was our responsibility. So that's what she took care of us.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so ultimately, what happened?
Pretty much what's happened, we had to trick her to, obviously, like the trailer said, we had to trick her to move her from Darlington here to Maryland. Got her in a car and just told her we was going to eat because she loved to eat. So that was the trick, and we just kept moving north. Yeah. And after that, she constantly said she wanted to go home. She tried to escape numerous of times. She almost, yes, to the point one time she, my children, I left to go to the store. My children was watching her. They thought she was in her room. She was headed, I found her walking down the street towards Annapolis Road in Landover, Maryland. Luckily, I was able to do a detour, and I saw her walking, and I was like, where are you going? I'm going home to South Carolina. Okay. That was what she did, get in the car. And I was furious when I got back to the house. Yeah, so that was just one of the times that she tried to, you know, escape back to Darlington. And we were just blessed to be able to find her.
Yeah, definitely. That could have really gone another way.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah. So, as far as your support system, they were helpful, and you didn't have to go at this alone.
No, yes, I'm grateful. You know, I was struggling with my brother at one time because I didn't understand. You know, he struggled with it, and I finally realized that because I felt that he should have done more. But then it dawned on me that what he was doing was what he could do. So he was very helpful, and my children were there. They took care of grandma and took care of her when I had to go run. But we realized we could never leave her by herself anymore.
Right.
So somebody had to be there. And at the time, I had never heard of Alzheimer's until I moved her here. So I didn't know anything about the Alzheimer's Association and them until later on. So I was pretty much doing this on my own. I was winging it, pretty much.
Yeah, this project really spoke to me because my family went through this as well with my grandmother. And a lot of things that you're saying mirrored what we went through. My parents were the primary caregivers, but just like you're saying, we couldn't leave her alone. And you know, everybody just picked up and just did their part as best as possible. And so this really really spoke to me. So as far as you writing, the play is based on a book.
Yes. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the play is based on my book, Laughing to Keep from Crying. This Alzheimer's thing is no joke. And a good friend of mine read the book, and she approached me about writing the play. So that's her name, Elaine Hutchison. Awesome. She did a fantastic job on the play. I obviously helped with some details and all, but yeah, she wrote the play, and we were able to get it performed. And like I had always told her, my desire is to get as many people out here to learn about this disease, see the play, so we can find some type of cure for this dreadful disease, because it's moving fast, especially in the Black community.
Yes, and it really is. So when you were going through this, what type of coping mechanisms, aside from the family, you know, supporting their loved one, their family member, what else did you do to help, you know, just support emotionally what these changes brought?
Well, I'll be very honest, since I did not understand the disease, and like I said, I was winging on my own, a prayer. God is good. Yeah. That's all I can say. He was my director, and I have to say that to anybody. Now it's so much more out here to give people support, like support groups and so on and so forth. At times, like I said, we would go visit South Carolina. I would leave her with my cousins and all. So my children and I would take a trip to Myrtle Beach, which was like an hour and 15 minutes away, and just take a mental break from her. Because I had to, those are the kinds of things I had to do, try to find some kind of way to just get away and just calm myself. One time my children, for my birthday, they sent me on a trip to New York with two of my girlfriends, and they took care of her for a week. God bless their soul. But it was good. So those are kinds of things that helped me to refocus once I get back in dealing with her. Try to find some kind of way, just like I said, a lot of prayer. Try to find a quiet moment when she sleeps. Just get some type of downtime at that time to do whatever I need to do to regroup, so I can be prepared for whatever's gonna come next. Because you never know what the person's gonna do next.
Yeah, yeah. So how did you get to the point that you decided to write this book? Because it's so personal and sharing a personal story like this.
Yes, I didn't want to write the book, and like I said, I always go back to God, because He constantly I kept hearing in my spirit, write this book. So I had, throughout the journey, I had written down a lot of notes that I had throughout the house. And I constantly kept hearing, gather your notes. So eventually I listened. It took me 9 years to write the book. So once I started finding all my notes and just put it down to paper, I just kept going until it was done. And I realized it's been a blessing to so many people who have approached me about it and basically said, I use this as a guide to whenever she does this, I go to your book because I know what to do now. So it's and also in the book, I not only tell my story, I also give lessons that I learned throughout that journey so it can help somebody else. And also there are resources in the book as well.
Yeah, that is good. How did it affect you seeing this on the stage?
It was emotional because it brought back a lot of memories about what happened throughout those times. Some of them are very touching. She was a comedian as well. Don't get me wrong. She was not always combative. She had her, she was funny at times, and she had us laughing. So those kinds of emotions and all these things kept, brought back. And even sometimes even at the trail, it kind of get a little choked up because I realized, people are going through the same thing I went through. So we want them to be able to get the support and the help that they need. And I'm praying, like I said, with the book and also the play, and that's also on DVD, that they can get this support.
Yeah. And I can imagine that even now seeing the trailer will bring back, different things and different emotions. Yeah. And so how did the family feel about the play and depicting this on stage?
They were very, very supportive. Matter of fact, two of my cousins came from South Carolina to see the play because I found out later on as my mother was going through that one of my uncles had the disease, but I didn't know what it was at the time. Nobody never talked about it. So, the word kept coming out, see now, that was the word for Alzheimer's at the time. So, so I didn't know what was wrong with him. So one of his sons actually came to the last play and saw it. And another cousin, her father developed it later on too, my mother's brother. So there's two brothers. So it's in our family, unfortunately. So I'm praying that I won't get it. So it was very well taken with the family. They were glad, that we that was able to bring it out.
Yeah, and that's really, really good. And like you said, people have looked at this and really changed the way that we discuss it and talk about it. And and so definitely some people talking about the play and the book. Both are excellent. So
yes.
Yeah, and someone else, play was excellent. It was real. That is true. That is true.
And our desire, even especially we had to play twice last year. And the first play, we actually had a panel at the end, so people can ask questions, and that was what we wanted. So, because there were a lot of people in the audience who were going through that, and they needed answers, struggling with this thing. It's up and down. You don't know what that person's going to do from 1 second really to the other. Yeah. So it's very, like I said, it's very important that caregivers get the support that they need. Go to support groups. I'm still involved with 2 support groups. First Baptist Church of Glenard and Picket Fences. I tend those to talk to the caregivers there because they need this.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned that. So you still need to talk to people about this, and still this is an ongoing thing. So I don't want people to feel like there's some kind of a clock where it stops, or you stop feeling. Yeah, definitely. So it is important. How can people get the DVD and download it, or the book, or anything?
Yes, they can go to my website, which is www.rosalynfmorgan.com. And the information is right there on my website where they can get the book, the DVD, and the information that they need. I talk a lot about, the things that I went through, and it's easy to get to. Just click on there and you can get it right there. You can stream it as well.
Yeah, so that is good. So you were able to put on the production before COVID hit.
Yes.
And I think that is really good. I'm glad that you weren't in the middle of the production when this happened.
Yes, I'm so grateful that we were, because we do want to do it again. My desire is to take it out of Maryland and take it to other places, because I really think it's the powerful play that many really need to see.
Yes. And so how, speaking of the pandemic, how have you and your family been dealing with this COVID-19?
Staying home, staying safe. I do a lot, like you do a lot of Zoom and those kind of meetings online. If I go out, I have my mask and I am well protected.
Yeah. So
we're following the guidelines. We're following the science.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what you have to do. And I'm glad that you're doing that. I'm glad that you said that you're wearing a mask, as I do as well. And I definitely want people, like you said, to follow the science.
Yes.
And so what about your church services? Have you been attending, or are you watching online? What you doing?
I watch it online every Sunday. Yes.
Very good.
Metropolitan Baptist Church. Yes, I am right there online.
Very good. Very good. So again, if you're just tuning in, I'm talking to author Rosalyn F. Morgan about her play and her book, and just coping with some very serious topics. But you also have other books, and this is not while this is the main thing we're talking about. You have other books as well, so you have been busy.
Yes, I wrote a book about children and finances, because that's another thing that really tugged at my heart, because there's so many people, adults like us, who don't know anything about finances at all. When they get adults like we are, they mess up their money. If you teach a child, my goal is to teach a child when they're young about how to handle their money, they will not make the mistakes that we've made. I have a lot of real life situations in the book. My children are primary ones in the book. My godson are things that they went through, and while teaching them, how to handle their money, and they're doing fine. For example, I use my godson a lot because I'll never forget one time he was adamant that he needed some Michael Jordans. I asked him, I said, well, who's going to pay for it? He said, well, my mother. I said, well, why is she paying for it? Where's your money? I don't have any money. I said, why are you giving Michael Jordan money and you don't even have any money to go to school? He said, he got money. What you paying for?
Right.
What are you buying those? So, but the good part of it, he graduated. He's in college now. He got the message. He has a bank account. He saves his money. He told me last year, he said, I haven't bought a pair of Michael Jordan since our conversation. I was like, good for you.
Yeah, so that's good.
It's okay. Don't get me wrong. It's nothing wrong with Michael Jordan. Make sure.
No, I get it.
Yeah, make sure you can afford them and you have some money on the side. You know, you can
Yeah, I
pay for
mean,
your school.
priorities are very important. Like you said,
Yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
Jordan has a whole lot of money. Nike has a whole lot of money,
Yeah.
and
And you
yeah,
barely have a
priorities.
dime.
Hmm.
Well, put your
Hmm.
priorities in order, and he does. He pays for his school, and he's doing well. My children are the same way. They know how to handle their money. We all going to make mistakes. I mean,
Sure.
that's life. But but learn from them. If you teach a child early, they will not make the really horrible mistakes. I can prime example for me, mistakes that I've made throughout my life.
Yeah, yeah, as did I. Definitely, definitely. So again, people can go to your website
Yeah,
and they can get information about the play, whether they want a DVD or whether they want to download. The
absolutely.
book is there as well, and as well as your other book that we were talking about. And I really appreciate you coming on and talking with us. Are you active on social media?
Not as much as I should.
Yeah, yeah, especially at this time, you can definitely stay in touch with folks and make
Yeah.
new friends and
Well,
definitely increase, who you're talking to about. Um, just it's Alzheimer's is something that, like I said, I think that it's touching everybody at some point in time.
yes,
Uh,
it
yeah,
is. Yes. And I do have Facebook, Twitter, and also Instagram page. So I do go on those. So people can follow me on those as well.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, again, I really appreciate you taking time to talk with me, and I definitely encourage people to check out the DVD or get the download and read the book, as the
Awesome. I
play is
thank
based
you.
on the book.
And I thank you for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, very welcome. Anything else you want to say?
I tell you, everybody be safe. Don't go out there
Yes,
and get crazy.
definitely, definitely important.
Yes, and
Definitely,
check out my website. Yes, indeed.
absolutely.
And we have
Well, thanks
t-shirts
again.
on there as well.
Yes,
Okay.
I saw that. Yes, absolutely. All right, so have a good one.
Thank you. You too. Enjoy the rest of your
Thank
week.
thank you,
Okay.
thank you.
Take care. All right.
All right,
Bye-bye.
bye bye. All right, so that was wonderful speaking with her. We're going to take a quick break, everybody, and we're going to come back with more of the program after this. And we are back. Your man Diamond K in here, of course. Uh, in the previous segment, I spoke with author Rosalyn F. Morgan about her book and her play, and just the very serious nature of her play and book, which is about Alzheimer's. And it is I told her that it was something that really spoke to me because that is something that my family dealt with my grandmother. And so I definitely encourage people to pick that up and check that out. um so I mentioned it earlier in the program, and that was the settlement that was reached. $20 million settlement reached in PG counties, Prince George's County in Maryland. And if you remember this story, where this officer killed a handcuffed man. So this guy here, right? $20 million settlement with the family of the man who was handcuffed in a police car when an officer shot and killed him. And they still tried to act like he was innocent. You know what I mean? The officer I'm talking about. So the PG County cop who killed William Green in January has been arrested on charges including second-degree murder and has a trial scheduled for next year. Again, this is on radioonfire.com. So that is the gentleman there with the seatbelt on that was killed by this officer. So it's when you think about it, if the officer had been white, would we get the same outcome? I'm going to say no. What am I basing? I'm basing this on what we've already seen. But I'm going to talk about the story as it's happened. But the bigger issue here is if it was a white officer, what would be happening? And he still hasn't gone to trial, so we don't know the result of the trial. He could get off scot-free and beat all charges. That could happen, right? Anyway, Michael Owen Jr., the officer, 10-year veteran of the police department, has been in jail since his arrest. I mean, he's been jailed since his arrest, right? Okay. He's been, right? Meaning he hasn't come home, right? Okay. A lot of times they get out, the officers I'm talking about. So Green was 43 years old, of Washington, D.C., unarmed. We heard that before. Unarmed, with his hands cuffed behind his back, when Owen shot him 6 times. 6 times. County Executive Angela also Brooks said today. She noted that Owen was the first police officer in the county's history to be charged with murder for killing while on duty. Now, let me say this. That doesn't mean he's the first one to do it. I mean, handcuffed with his hands behind his back, sitting in a squad car, you would think that one was an open and shut case, right? You would think that was an open and shut case. They're forced to do this. This ain't what they wanted to do. We're talking about the prosecutors. They didn't want to do this. They felt the need to. Oh, we got to take somebody down. We'll take down this black officer. 10 years. Oh, yeah. We good. We'll do that. But she did say that she is deeply sorry for your loss. Also, Brooks told Green's mother, who was joined at the news conference by Green's adult daughter and son. There is no appropriate price tag to accompany a loss like that one. But we believe that the actions taken that night against Mr. Green and ultimately taken against his family warrant this settlement, she said. So here's my question. When they do this type of stuff, right? These settlements, from what we've seen, tend to lead to the officers getting a smack on the wrist, or even less than that. But like she said, there's no appropriate price tag. There's no way that you can bring him back. But that doesn't mean that the family does not want justice. Billy Murphy is the attorney for the family, and he described the settlement as historic and said that it reflects the senseless nature of the killing. And I keep talking about this in context to other killings that have happened at the hands of the police. Billy Murphy said that in his 50 years, he has never seen a case this brutal, this senselessly brutal, this depraved. Murphy also said that Brooks, the county's former top prosecutor, inherited a police department with a history of corruption and racism. Oh, now we're talking. Now we're talking. Let's get to it. Also, Brooks recently formed a task force to identify ways to possibly reform the police department's hiring, training, and use of force policies. Now, when you start talking like that, the police apologists tend to get uncomfortable, right? In this instance, as I said, Owen is black, and so was Green. Now, so we got two sets of issues here, right? You have the way that a black officer is treated when killing a black citizen. And then you have a white officer killing a black citizen. So let's understand this. When they pay out this money and the officer goes free or gets a smack on the wrist, that's just like saying it's okay and they just slide him some money. Now, if you need money for something else, they can't help you. But if one of their officers goes out and murders one of your family members, they'll find some money to give you if they're forced to. But they're still not going to hold their officers accountable, and it continues. The behavior of these officers continues because there is no accountability. It's not like this money's coming out of any of these officers' paychecks. They're not accountable. You know what I mean? It's like a child doing something and then their rich parent paying for it. The child is not feeling obligated to correct their behavior, especially when mommy and daddy keep paying for it and there are no repercussions. And the very few times that there are repercussions with the police is when there is a black officer, 9 times out of 10. So, investigators did not find any evidence of a fight between Owen and Green before the officer fatally shot him on January 27th. Now, here's another point that I want to make about this, because oftentimes prosecutors, police officers will come up with one story and then evidence, witness, video, body camera footage, cell phone footage will say something completely different, contradicting their statements, right? So, what I mean and why I bring that up is that reporters were told by the police department spokeswoman that 2 independent witnesses say that they saw or heard a struggle of some sort coming from the patrol car before they heard the gunshots. Right? That's what they said. That's what the police spokeswoman said. So Owen handcuffed Green behind his back after responding to a traffic accident and finding him asleep in his vehicle while apparently under the influence of an unknown substance, the report said. Owen then put Green in the front passenger seat of the patrol car, which did not have a partition between the front and back seats. Officers are permitted to transport arrested suspects in the front when the patrol cars lack partitions, the police said. So a prosecutor said back in January that Green complied with officers, listened to the commands, did as he was told. When he was taken out of the car and handcuffed, Joyce said that Green posed absolutely no threat. Investigators did not find any weapons in his possession or in his vehicle, but this unarmed man killed by this police officer. So if you remember back when this murder happened, police department spokeswoman said that 2 witnesses told police that they saw or heard the struggle before the shooting. And the spokeswoman, Christina Cotterman, said that the officers smelled PCP and believed the man was under the influence of that drug. Oh, so that means that they're just supposed to go kill him, right? Is that what that is supposed to be? Like, the amount of, assumptions that officers tend to make when it is convenient for them. You know the very infamous statement that officers make over the years when you ask them questions. They say, "Look, officer, let me explain it. Tell it to the judge." That's the infamous thing they make. They don't even want to try to even decipher what you're saying. Tell it to the judge is what they normally say. But these officers, well, when I smelled PCP, I believed he was under the influence, and then later on he's dead, right? We don't know what you smelled, allegedly smelled. So the police, the county police chief later said that PCP did not appear to have been involved. And furthermore, there was no struggle. No account of a struggle in the cruiser could be corroborated. They just made it up. So going to Breonna Taylor for a moment. So when they say things like, we announced ourselves in this no-knock warrant, we announced ourselves as the police, and then they supposedly, allegedly have some kind of witness, we don't believe you. They make things up after the fact in many cases, not all, but many. And how do we know that this is not one of those cases? So the shooting was not caught on body camera video because the officer, Kowinky Dink, did not have one on. So take a look at this gentleman's face, right? His trial is set for March the 22nd, 2021. So that's what's going on there. And the family, as I said, given a settlement of $20 million. Prince George's County Police killing this handcuffed man. Let me see what Sandra has to say about this. She has something to say about this. Sandra, says that I believe that things have changed significantly over the last 20 years for the Prince George's County Police. However, there is still much work to do. So I'm assuming that you're saying that things have changed for the better. And I think that that's probably around the country, right? Some things have changed, right? You're getting some Black people and other minority people in positions of power. And that's something that wasn't always there, maybe even in the last 20 years. So you're getting stuff like that. Obviously, this officer that killed William Green was Black, Michael Owen Jr. 10 years with the police department. So yes, so I agree that there is things that have changed significantly across the country, but still a lot of work to do. And with that, I am in agreement with Sandra. I am in agreement with that. So interesting. Okay, well, definitely thank you for that comment. So as I said earlier, tomorrow debate 9 p.m. We will be streaming that radioonfire.com/live, facebook.com/radioonfire. You can watch that with us live. We're going to be looking and commenting on the debate in real time and then recapping it immediately following that. People will be able to join us as well, your comments, or join us on the screen tomorrow for a special edition of the program. I will be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. And then, as I said, after immediately following the show, we're going to go into this debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. This is the first of several debates, 36 days away from the election. The very important election. This is, and we talk about, this is the most important election, and this is the most important election. So I am I'm looking forward to seeing these two spar. It will be it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Chris Wallace going to be the moderator. Trump and Biden will not shake hands at the debate, and nor should they. Nor should they. I don't think they're going to bump elbows either. I don't think that they're going to bump elbows. Yeah, I don't know. I want to see them talk about, Trump is going to throw a lot of personal issues, personal jabs, and that's cool, right? And that's cool. However, I want to see them discuss some of the significant things, the economy. Let me say this. With what we already know about Trump, he's no authority on the economy. He's no authority. He's a fraud. He's no authority. But the economy, especially during this pandemic, is something that needs to be discussed, needs to be talked about. And while Trump is going to want to throw mud and talk about Hunter and talk about, Ukraine and other things like this, I want them to get that stuff out of the way, get down to the specifics, get down to the things that are really important to the American people. COVID-19. Dealing with this pandemic, dealing with this economy that has collapsed under the incompetent leadership of Donald Trump. We need to talk about health care. We need to talk about these important issues, what they call the kitchen table issues affecting the country. Now, Trump is going to try to throw a lot of smoke screens, a whole lot of whataboutisms, a whole lot of crap on the wall. But at the end of the day, you need to go out and let your voice be heard. And hopefully we're going to see something reminiscent of a decent debate. But for the record, most people have already made up their minds. Like, it's not like Donald Trump's one of those people where you're on the fence about him, right? Maybe I like him, maybe I want to vote, maybe I don't. I think people pretty much know. Now, the only thing it can do is it can get worse. You can probably get less votes. Well, I mean, Joe Biden is not, the best candidate, but Trump is the absolute worst candidate next to Kanye West. Trump's the worst. Look at the economy. Your kids are having school at the kitchen table, literally, because of the handling of the coronavirus by Donald Trump, who tried to hide the severity from the American people. So much. There's so much that Joe Biden needs to focus on, and hopefully he will do that. Hopefully he will do that. Radio on Fire, of course, listener supported, internet talk radio and podcast networking, streaming from our production facilities in Baltimore and Atlanta. Radio on Fire is able to broadcast free programs because of our listeners and our amazing sponsors. We talk to America through our social media and news broadcasts. So I will be back here tomorrow. Looking forward to the debates. It seems like it's been forever getting here. Of course, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, at The Dame K Show, at Radio on Fire.